The time was
Your hair is always going to look better than ours. So just don't even worry about it. Way better than ours. It's not even going to be close. Ever.
Speak for yourself, Manny.
Ooh.
What guy?
I don't know what
You-
you doing. You bald.
Yeah, like don't drag me into your shenanigans.
I didn't drag you. The Lord dragged you and took your hair.
My bad.
That ain't me.
Drag me into stuff that doesn't concern me.
I didn't make this choice. I don't have the same humility.
I know, like, you know.
Yeah, anytime I try to be humble and bring us both into it live, be like, you be aight.
Yeah.
Like that time I apologized. That might have been one of my favorite moments of the entire podcast. Because I could feel you in your head like, nah, he'd be aight. I can't wait for him to stop talking just so I could tell him he'd be aight.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to just stop because he's gonna remove himself from this. But yeah.
Yeah. So how have y'all been? Happy New Year. Feliz año.
Oh, yeah, Happy New Year.
Feliz año
Feliz
Feliz
año
años
nuevo. I mean,
nuevos. Is it nuevos? Did I say that right? I was just trying to copy you as you were talking. Is it nuevos?
it will be nuevo because nuevo is plural, right? It's just like say Happy New Year.
Sí. Feliz años nuevos.
Pero solamente un año.
Sí. I just be saying C. I don't even really know what he's talking about, but I be saying C.
C is all C works in French too, so you know.
Isn't that we?
It's we, but there's a C that's also like a yes, but it's like it's a specific context, but it like still kind of works. I think it's like one of those where if you're trying to respond to something like, you know, au contraire, si, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember now. It's been a minute, but anyway.
Is that true lie, or did she just make that up? Which she could have, and I would have believed her. But now, since your third party's here, I'm going to ask.
She's just making shit up.
That is not true.
It sounded believable, kind of.
I mean, Manny, you're one of those people that you could easily be hoodwinked.
Well, when it comes to languages, yeah, I don't know shit.
Easily be bamboozled. It's like,
you're gonna have me in Paris saying "C" to everybody. They're like, what?
Well, okay, so I'm looking it up now. I know "C" is a word in French. I think that it may not actually mean yes. So, like, there's an example here that's like, see, I gotta clear my name. Well, I think it's like a if.
Yeah, if is different from C.
No. Obviously, you know how like you learn something and it sort of sticks in your brain, but like you don't remember all the details. So C is a word in French. It just means
it just doesn't mean yes.
No, it doesn't mean it means if. So for instance, if you're trying to say if you do this, you know, like then it's C.
If you're tired, then go to sleep.
See.
I mean, that is a very big difference, right?
That's a huge difference. I would have just been like, do you want something to drink? And I would have been like, see. And they're like, what? See. It's like, okay, something's wrong with this dude. See.
Anyway,
that's hilarious. I'm glad we cleared that up before I went to Paris embarrassing myself.
The important controversy of C.
See.
Funny enough, it's the same in Spanish. So in Spanish as well, C means both yes and if.
Maybe that's where I got all screwed up.
Look, I don't think that's true. I think that's a lie.
It is true, 100%.
See? How does that mean? Use it in a sentence. I don't know why I asked you to do that actually, because I won't be able to verify it. But give me an example.
So, for instance, if you say something like, so the first context is the one we know. Hey, are you happy? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, estás contenta? Sí. Right. But if you say something like, if you're hungry, you can eat. So it will be like, si tienes hambre, puedes comer.
Si tienes hambre. If you
if you're
Damn.
hungry.
Yeah,
Or
if
you can
hungry,
put
yeah.
in Google Translate. I mean, you can
I'm
check.
looking it up. He's right. There is like
You
the,
can.
the
So,
example.
okay, I got you. So
is-
Io just confused an entire language with another
But
language. Is that
but
right?
if you
See,
think about it,
it's the same thing. See is if in both Spanish and
that's
French.
what I was thinking.
I know, I got that, but C
I
in
mean,
French is not yes and if. It's only yes and if in Spanish.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
she was confusing
Right,
French.
I was confused.
You just did.
But if you think about the baseline is that
George.
the word "see"
Less.
it's two things, right? One, the word "see" exists in both languages. Was I right? Yes. Two, it's
Lie is so
time
over this.
the word "see" means yes and if. I had the wrong language, but the right, that's all
No.
I'm saying.
Nah, we don't know.
It makes sense to me.
Trust me.
To this
There are
day.
many things. Bigfoot makes sense to many people, and the insurrection made sense. To some people.
Wow, my linguistic genius has been compared to criminal activity. That's
I mean,
treasonous.
I don't know how we even got here, but I feel like Lai wants to tell us about the United States.
Yes.
How was your trip?
Amazing or not amazing American?
Oh yeah, so I was in the US and it was weird because I feel like I had culture shock. Well, maybe is it culture shock or I was just shocked. But anyway, so first thing, the US should totally be a bilingual country. Like I'm talking about, everyone under the age of 18 now, should just be fluent in Spanish. Like if you go to many European countries like France or Spain or Germany, anyone like under the age of 40 speaks their local language and English. Like it's just like I feel like as a national policy, the US should just have that and say, you know what, we live with all these people. Like everyone south of the US speaks Spanish, right? Like I think it's a travesty that not only everyone that lives out of the US, such a significant percentage of folks in the US, like folks that live in America, speak Spanish. That I think it's criminal that it's not like an official language. Like Americans are not just bilingual. Like I get it, if you're 80, you don't speak it, but if you're less than, like if you're younger than like 30, you should just be totally bilingual. And I say that because I totally underestimated how much of a bilingual country the US is until I went back this time. From the airport, like I was translating Spanish, like I just noticed it more. Where like the Uber spoke Spanish, like there were where you have advertising boards like outside when you drive was like I never like sometimes it's always really been there, but I just never really so I'm like everything is in like in the airport. Are you kidding me? Like at least twice I had to like translate between for people that were asking for direction. They're trying to talk to some of the airport workers. Those folks don't, so I had to like translate back and forth. So I don't know. Like
it also depends on where you are in the US, right? You're in this is
York.
Still, New York. But like a big city, New York, that matters. If you're in Texas or California, other big cities, but there's places in the middle of the country where I don't think it.
Even those places now have more and more
like Spanish speaking people.
And I'm just saying, like, it shouldn't even matter. Like, I just think if there is a national policy to just kind of like have a second language. Whether you live in the big cities, whether you live in, I don't know, whether you live in middle of nowhere, America, you should have access to that opportunity as well. Because if you're bilingual, it just opens opportunities, right? Like you just So I obviously it will be easier in like places like Houston that has a large,
like Spanish speaking
population, Los Angeles, places like that. But if you are in Bloomington, I don't know, Illinois.
Indiana. We also need people to learn the different names of their states.
You asking a lot
That should be in the
now?
education too.
Two languages and geography. This too much.
But I mean, yeah, I don't know.
So, yeah,
I wish I learned another language though. I mean, not even just because of who speaks. Even if it's not Spanish, I think people should just learn another language. Like that should just be taught. Everyone should have to learn some other language. Spanish is probably the most practical because, you know,
yeah. So that's
have a
how
large
I'm looking at
percentage.
it. I'm just looking at it just from a practicability standpoint, right? Like
Mhm.
we live in the same hemisphere. Every other, with the
Yeah.
exception of Canada, every
Right.
other country. I mean, Haiti speaks French, but a significant population of Haitians speak
Brazilian.
Spanish.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
So yeah, every other country. I mean, you have a few tiny countries here and there that speak English, but most of the countries south of the U.S. speak Spanish, and
Yeah.
so that is that. The other piece is with the pandemic.
Mhm.
It's interesting coming from a place that took it seriously, right? Like with the masking, like in Spain, more than 80% of the population is fully vaccinated, right? So even when Omicron was running wild, the rates were going up, but hospitalization rates and death rates were even lower than Delta and whatever. I mean, even in the US as well, Omicron is not as
Deadly
yeah,
or
it's not
severe.
exactly,
Yeah.
it's not as severe anyway. So, but I just thought it was interesting where you're coming from a place where if you're gonna go into like closed spaces, they were still enforcing masks, and if you're gonna go into like large restaurants, you have to have like your vaccine passport and things like that.
Do you have to have the actual passport, or can you just have a picture on your phone?
So you can it could either be it's like a QR code. So most people just have it on their phone. Like you can just download it on your phone or whatnot, or you can print it out on paper. Like it will still be like a QR code that people will scan.
Gotcha. See, we don't, and this is in. Are you saying this was in the U.S. or are you saying this was over in
This is
Spain?
this is over in Spain. So the
Yeah.
EU has a universal EU passport, like vaccine passport. So
Okay.
there is like that common connection or common link. I don't know where everyone has it. But in the in the US,
US, it's
whatever
like,
they say is a passport is this piece of paper shit that they just give. I mean, I
or
feel like
yeah, it's just a picture of a piece of paper. That's what I have. I just on my phone. I mean, it could be anything. I could have just. I mean, it's hilarious. They're like, yeah, you good, you
so
good.
that's that. But the thing is, nobody cares about it. Like in Texas, are you kidding me? Like it was like
Oh, you're like, what's
2020.
Omicron?
It's like it doesn't exist. All like anywhere I barely saw anyone with masks. I'm like, wait, what is going on
That's
here?
what happened to me when I was in South Carolina. I went there for Christmas, and like the day before Christmas, I went Christmas shopping at like these outlets, and there's like I would say like 50% of people had masks, maybe, probably less. But even 50% is a huge drop from Philly, where I've never seen anyone in a store without a mask. Like that just doesn't happen in Philly. So it was weird. And it was funny because I was walking in a store, I had my mask on, and this lady, 80 some years old, in a wheelchair, no mask. She was like, I don't give a fuck. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I got a booster shot in South Carolina at a pharmacy that was inside of a Target, and the pharmacist did not have a mask on. that's a real thing. He kind of looked at me like I was weird. Like, all right, dude. It was wild. That was a culture shock for me, for sure. But Texas, I can't even imagine. I'm sure Texas. I mean, that's got to be crazy. I think the only state that's probably worse than Texas is like Florida. But Texas is probably running a race with Florida because they don't give a fuck. I know they don't give a fuck.
They don't give a damn. I mean, the thing is, it's funny. So if you go to a place like Whole Foods, right, you will see a fair, a decent number of people with masks. But if you go
Trader
to
Joe's
like
people wear masks.
A Bass and Pro Shop.
Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, those places like that. But other kind of stores like Randall's or something like that, forget it. Like
Yeah.
Walmart people
What?
be just
Shit.
running around naked.
They don't give a damn. Yeah, they're not even.
You
So
know,
I was just in Pennsylvania, and actually, I don't think I saw a single mask at the Walmart in Pittsburgh that we went to. And
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is very different than the rest of Pennsylvania. I don't even know why. We have no allegiance to the rest of the state. They have nothing to do with us. We went for Trump in 2016. We may have gone for Trump maybe we didn't, but we were close. I'm sure we were close.
Yeah. I was in Pennsylvania. I was like, we had a snowstorm and all that, and my friends are like, "Damn, like, what if we die here?" I was like, "I cannot die in a swing state."
In Pittsburgh, yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for Pittsburgh. Philadelphians are like, we don't know shit about them. We don't speak for them. We don't have nothing to do with that. We don't know what the fuck they're doing out there. We certainly don't give a fuck about the like middle of the state. So
Somerset County and all of that. It felt like I was in Arkansas. Like that's how that part of Pennsylvania felt. It felt like, like Arkansas, Missouri.
It's culturally very different. First of all, Philly's like an East Coast city. So Pittsburgh it's already like this Midwest thingy that is just so weird and different culturally. So it's weird that we're in the same state, but yeah. I can believe that, but yeah, and in like a city, people have masks. When I'm in New York, there's so many people in New York that obviously some people aren't wearing masks, but I would say a large percentage of them are.
Yeah, I mean, it was just weird, but
culture shock. Yeah,
but at the end, though, everyone is so tired of
all this shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like at this point. Like, I don't know, not to get too political. Like,
let's do it.
At this point, it's just a waste of time trying to convince people to vaccinate.
Yeah, it's been a waste of time this whole time. We just didn't know. People didn't know how much.
Just let them be. Like, if you don't want to because at this point, I actually think two things. One, maybe the focus should move a little bit away from vaccination, but to really figure out treatment. I mean, if you I'm saying to the point where you can have over-the-counter type treatment regimen for this thing. Then at that point, who cares, right? Mm-hmm. So, because my sense is if you put in as much effort into treatment, cocktails, the way you have over-the-counter treatment, whatever, for the common flu, maybe then we can just say, you know what, we both have vaccines for the common flu, right? And then if you do get a flu, you can be treated for it. So
I think that is what's happening. It's just sort of like the who is, so from the White House, right, or the CDC, that's a little like obviously the stuff that's going on with like the pharmaceutical companies and the research, that's like they're both happening, right? And I think that like the scary thing is people, I think what's really happening is that our government doesn't know how to honestly, especially with this government, right? Because coming from Trump, when you're like, we're the not Trump, you can't then say, you know what? Fuck it. Do you, boo. Whatever you want. We got vaccines if you want it. Merck and them are working on the drugs. And other than that, go to school, go to work, and obviously like the young kids, right? Like that's and maybe they should just say, you know what, we're more likely to get treatment for younger kids than we are to get the, permission to vaccinate like kids, like, because I feel like folks with kids under 5 who are like going to school and stuff, like those people are just like their lives are very different from that of like, and maybe you can relate to this or can't because of America, but like I feel like for people like me, I'm just like out here living my life, right? Like I'm like, look, I'll wear a mask when I go into a store. I'll wear a mask on the flights and all of that, but like at this point,
so to me, it's kind of like if you're gonna enforce masks, you got to go all the way. Like you basically have almost like a universal seem to make it difficult for people that are not vaccinated to like board flights, get a public transit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's
So
what America's not. That's what America.
so that's my point. If you're not going to do that, then just say, you know what, you've tried your best to get people.
Yeah,
The
but
people that are
let's
going to get
say
vaccinated
that.
are already vaccinated. So you've tried your best. Then at this point, you just got to be like, okay, you know what, we are moving forward, and then we're now going to refocus the energy into maybe treatment options and making that cheap and more accessible and all that stuff, so everybody can just get back to their life. I mean, to me, the Biden administration, man, forget it. Like, fuck those guys. They are incompetent. You know, you like I've been following. My mental health has been helped significantly by not following U.S. news, but more recently, I've been following like the whole thing about passing the voting rights, like the the bill to kind of like the federal, would you call it like voting rights bill, whatever you want to call it. And wow, the Democrats, man, they're gonna get their ass handed to them in November, and they're gonna deserve it. They're out there now blaming voters like, oh, you guys need to go out there and vote, where these motherfuckers are not doing anything. They are not doing anything to kind of like motivate people to. I mean, Biden, are you kidding me? What is the point of being a president? Like, if you're not going to use like executive, you can use executive powers to do many things. Like, it's just sitting there doing nothing. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, I mean, Omicron, I mean, this whole thing, I don't know. Everybody be Aight. Like, you get vaccinated or not and live your life. People are straight up dying at this point. It's like, because they're not vaccinated. I'm like, dude, you can read the same way I can read and take all this information in. If you choose still not to get vaccinated, have fun with that. I don't know.
That's my point. I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like, if you don't get vaccinated, that's your business. Like, I don't care. I don't care if your boss fires you because of it. I don't care
right.
if you get if you get coronavirus. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, I think the interesting sentiment I've heard from like some folks who are like not trying to get vaccinated and don't want to whatever is like, they're like, why do you care? You believe you're protected. For me, why are you bothered about whether? And I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? You're right. If the one goes to Starbucks and talks to 100 people a day, doesn't want to get the vaccine, and now the Supreme Court says Starbucks really shouldn't fire her because of that or can't make her, then I'm like, girl, you know what? You're right. I'm going to wear my mask when I come interact with you, just because like, like it's the Venn diagram of people who wear their masks and people who get vaccinated, it's the same people, right? These people are like, I don't believe in masks or vaccines. I would really like natural order of things to just handle me.
Oh,
you know what? Live your life, dude.
Yeah,
whatever.
I wonder what you guys think of this. So we were in South Carolina and we were going to these stores at the outlet, and Geneva overheard like these two girls talking who were probably in their 20s, maybe mid 20s. And someone was like, "Oh, is this store going to require us to wear masks?" And the other one was like, "Oh no, I don't think so." I was like, "Oh," because I think it was like a Nike store. And I think, like, I don't know, maybe she thought Nike was like progressive or something. Anyway, one of the girls ended up saying, if we were supposed to wear masks, like God would have created us with masks or something, like something insane. This was a real thought. And it wasn't like this was a person who drove there, who, had her clothes on, like she got dressed in the morning. She didn't seem like a complete idiot, but that's what she said. So it was, I didn't hear it, but that was reported to me that was said.
Those are the things that I see like in words on social media. So there's a lot of things like this actually that like I see in words and I see these social media interaction. And in my mind, like this is where it happens, right? So hearing things like that in the wild is just crazy. It's like, if you're hanging out with a friend and instead of laughing, they say "lol," you'd be like, "What are you doing?" Like,
right.
Right. We just in real life we just laugh. Like that's the kind of stuff when I see those things in tweets, I'm like, oh, this is the thing we do on Twitter. But if I heard someone say that in real life, I'd be like, I'm sorry. Are you a tweet? Like,
yeah, it was ridiculous. It was like a really weird meme that
exactly. It's like.
It's like, is that real? It's such a stereotype. It was so cliche. It was like, this is ridiculous.
because I don't even go down
You
assuming
lie?
people are as cliche as that in real life, and I was like, wow, some people are apparently, but yeah, I mean, yeah, at this point, people just do what you do or not, but you're not going to force people to you're not going to force adults to do something they're just not going to do. It's just not going to happen. If anything, it backfires, and you're just wasting time. But yeah, I think, stay vaccinated if you want and get boosted if you want. Wear a mask. I will say though, like when I travel though, at least on like airplanes and stuff like that, I mean, everybody wears a mask and everybody's pretty respectful in airports. I guess they have to be. But no, I have never seen anyone be weird about wearing a mask, and I've traveled a lot during the pandemic. So
Yeah, did y'all see the was it an American Airlines flight that had to come back? Oh, my keyboard is acting crazy. But I'm looking it up right now. This was like insane to me. Okay, so there was a American Airlines flight to London it was a Miami to London flight, and they turned around because somebody wouldn't wear their mask. But it was like, I'm trying to see how. Okay, so it was an hour and 48 minutes after it departed that it like turned around.
because one person wouldn't wear their mask.
Let's see.
They should have just thrown that person off the plane.
I just feel like,
well, see ya.
why are you? And that's the thing. And I guess this like, you don't want to wear a mask. Okay, then swim to fucking London, bro. Like, I don't know.
I mean, really?
Okay, so I have some thoughts about that.
Huh?
So that particular aspect, yes, like
that's insane.
I don't. Yeah, it is insane. Like when you're an hour and a half, 2 hours into it, and somebody decides to act up,
that person should be criminally charged, beaten the fuck up. Yeah, kicked out the fucking plane. Anyway.
I mean, it means that you've probably set people at least 6 hours behind, right? Because
I mean, he should be. I mean, he's going to be sued and all this other or something. He needs some type of. I mean, that's insane. I hope someone beats the shit out of that guy. Because we all know it's a guy.
All the passengers just need to beat their ass, but
right. That's insane.
So, but with that being said, some of the CDC guidelines are ridiculous. Like, I'm like, is it human beings that are writing these things? So for instance,
well, everyone's making shit up.
They were like, okay, if you have everyone over the age of 2 must wear a mask, and they are like going around trying to get like, okay, that person, that he's 2 years old and 3 months. I'm like, have you seen a toddler? Have you tried to put a mask on a toddler?
Yeah,
like on a 4-year-old.
Yeah,
like I mean, who is writing these things? And like, yo, we're just following the law. I'm like, boy, are you an animal? Like, are you a zombie? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's funny to see everyone making everything up, kind of as even the CDC. It's like, let's try this.
So my sister, who I doubt listens to this. Anyway,
CBI.
Right. Her kid is gonna be 2 in June, and so Wednesday, my sister casually says, "Oh, kid can't go to school this week because they're like daycare, which she calls school, whatever." Anyway, kid can't go to school this week because a kid in her class tested positive for COVID. And this is on a Wednesday, right? So then my sister says, the school says if they test negative, they can come back to school on Monday. Okay, that's logical. Then she says, and this is the part that just like my brain exploded. Then she says, but if they choose not to get tested or whatever, as long as they don't have any symptoms, they can go back to school on Tuesday. And I was just like, okay. Okay, now somebody has to explain to me what the fuck.
Yeah.
Like, what does that
mean? So
like, what? They're like, look, we are looking at our bank account, and as a school, daycare, whatever, we need y'all back here by Tuesday. That's what
that's what she said. Yeah.
Like, they said, just wait one more day. Like, either way, you can't come to school. So testing or not testing only is there's only a penalty of a day, right? It's not like test negative, come to school today. It's like in a week, you could come to school if you're negative. In a weekend, a day, because that's the magic number, you could come back. And I was just like, this is insane.
It's like, yeah, okay.
They're just like, we got, we flipped a coin and said.
Yeah, because there's so many other things to consider too. These rules aren't made in a vacuum. It's always these other considerations, like when the CDC is like, actually, let's say you only have to quarantine for 5 days. And they're just like, we want people back at work. We want the economy moving. Like, we don't have time for all this bullshit of people fucking not going to work for 10 days. So they're basically like, yeah, fuck that. Come back in 5. That's really what's going on. They don't, you know what I mean? Like, there's all these other things, all these other pressures coming from all these other sides.
It was in the news that the airlines were like, yo, because all those flights that were canceled around the holidays, the airlines were like, look, all of our people are testing positive and they now have to sit out all these days and it just doesn't make any sense. And the CDC very soon after said, cool, if you don't have any symptoms,
right,
you're good. I mean, and I have
which isn't necessarily wrong.
Because I've been thinking about asymptomatic people can spread COVID, right? But I think that the way that you spread COVID, I think it's like you expel particles, right, into the air and whatever. And those particles, usually you have more particles to expel if you're, for example, sneezing and coughing, right? And things like that, or coughing. I can't ever say that word right. Anyway, point is, maybe there's some sense in it, but it's just that, I wish that there'd be an honesty about, look, the reason we have to
some of y'all are gonna die.
Right.
But we need to get this.
This 5-day thing. And to me, if I'm a person, which of course I wouldn't be because my brain just wouldn't work there. But if I was a person who didn't want to get vaccinated because I thought I'd be fine and say, well, all of you vaccinate yourselves and protect me. The minute the CDC drops this 5 days thing, I'd be like, oh, wait a minute now.
No, they don't give a fuck. I'm telling you, they do not care. If you're not vaccinated, you don't give a fuck.
Right.
For the most part. You're just like, you're going to take your chances. So they don't care if it's 4 days or 10 days or 3 days or 6 hours. They're like, I'm going to still get on that airplane.
And that's when now I'm just like, look, and because, travel is sort of the thing that I wanted, that thing that makes me happy. I'm like, look, everybody just needs to ditch their COVID-related migration policies because YOLO, right? It's get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. Just don't make me have to take a bunch of tests to come to your country and a test before I leave and 24 hours before and all of that. Just let me be.
It's funny. So to travel back to Spain, to travel to Spain specifically, you just need to show that you've been vaccinated. So you don't even have to take a test or anything like that.
Yeah, that's the same with France.
And you know what makes it easy? So if you come into, and that's almost, I think all EU countries have it.
Yeah.
Because we have the reason why it would be difficult for Americans because you got to go take a test and whatnot is because you guys have the ghetto vaccine.
Yeah, there's no real.
So there is no verification for it, so they're not accepting shit like that.
Why don't we have a QR code?
But with me, I only had to just upload the thing and automatically I didn't even have to do any. I was surprised because of what I had to do to come into the US.
It still doesn't make sense, right? Because think about it. As an American, our system is broken as far as the vaccine proof, right? Mm-hmm. But that broken vaccine proof gets me into France, gets me into Spain. But as a Spanish resident,
no, it doesn't get you. It doesn't get you. You have to take a test and be negative.
Wait, what do you mean?
So if you are an American coming.
Yeah, you have to take a test. So even though you have the vaccine thing.
Oh, okay.
Because you have a picture of your vaccine thing in your phone next to some screenshots.
So you have to show that. And a negative PCR test 48 hours or whatever hours before you travel. So that's the thing. Now, if you are
so that makes sense. And they're like, Americans, we don't trust you.
So you guess what? There are countries like Togo, Rwanda, maybe Malawi, that actually have a better coordinated system than America. Those folks, they don't have to show anything because they have the QR code thing. And all they just have to do is, upload it or whatnot, and they're bored. So they're saying all they're saying is just be fully vaccinated. We don't even care if obviously they will, they have things that like if you obviously
if you're coughing and throwing up or whatever, please don't get on our plane. But
you're like, you know if that's Ebola, girl, just don't come.
But otherwise, so it's So for Americans, you have to show your ghetto.
Gotcha. So and then, I mean,
anyway, let's get off this topic. We got to go talk about how you went to jail.
They went to prison.
Whatever.
Like because it's way more gangster. Like what?
You went to prison. I know.
What I'm saying, like
she went to federal prison. Is that true? Was it a federal prison? How does that work in Nigeria?
I think it's all one.
All one prison.
Police force is all one.
Then just call it federal. That sounds way more.
That sounds way harder. August. Federal penitentiary, baby.
Yeah, that's like the highest level of getting in trouble. Holy shit, federal prison. That sounds terrifying.
Like you had a Sally auntie. What's her name again?
Auntie Gloria.
Auntie Gloria. Like, how is she doing, by the way? Is she out?
She's like, oh, she's right here. She like gets on the podcast.
For money, so I blocked her. You said we should get her on the podcast.
She's like right behind you. She's chilling. She's over there on her phone. Hey, Auntie Gloria, get on the podcast. Say hello. That'd be hilarious. You guys became best friends.
Oh
like Auntie Gloria listens to UBI.
She's like, I heard you on UBI, girl. I know you blocked me.
I literally have her name saved in my phone, like Kiri roommate.
We got it. So I don't even know, like Kiri. I remember when I was young, man. Like if they say Kiri, it's like Kiri.
What is that?
So there are three. Like there is a prison in Louisiana called Angola. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah.
And then there is another. Is it Rikers in upstate?
Rikers in New York, yeah.
And then what's the other one in California?
Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. So now in Nigeria we have Kiri.
Oh, right. That's where you were, Aiight, right? Right. Yeah.
So we have Kiri. We have another one called Alagbon. I don't know if I.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Alagbon.
There's Alagbon, and then there's a third one called Elewero.
I've never heard of that. Those words before in my life.
Man, those are like where, those are the Angolas, Rikers, and Alcatraz.
Damn.
Okay, the Alagbon one is where the other guy went to. I didn't even know the name of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alagbon might have been where Fela was jailed as well.
Yes, Kiri.
So it's either Alagbon or Kiri. But anyway, I don't even know where to begin.
That story was pretty wild. I kept having more questions after.
Okay, well, hold on. First of all, pause real quick. I just googled where prison Fela was at. He was at Kiri. So literally, me and Fela Kuti have something in common.
Why was he in prison?
Because he was a freedom fighter or whatever.
Like what made him popular.
And then he made some hot beats, and they were like, "All right, we'll let you out." How did that work?
I think
no, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
He got in there after he started making music.
Yeah, because his music is kind of like criticizing the government.
Yeah, like
it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so his songs got popular. People just sing them. They don't know what is behind them. That's him like telling the military. I mean, that was ballsy of him because those guys were they were vicious, man. So they actually killed his mother.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they killed his mother.
Out of a building or something.
Yeah, threw her from like a second floor or third floor of a building when they were looking for him.
Jeez. And then what happens when that shit happens? Like to them, nothing. They just
nothing happens. Who did it?
I mean, it was the military. It was the military.
Did they claim that it was an accident, or did they just straight up say we did it?
They didn't even acknowledge it.
Okay, I got you.
Like they didn't even acknowledge it. Like
because they were looking for him.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, bro, what the fuck does my mom have to do with this?
His mom was also like an activist, right? So I think, I think it was, I guess one of those like activist families and all that. She was women's right.
Yeah, the mom was a woman. In fact, the mom, I believe, was the first Nigerian woman to drive a car.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. When was that?
That was like in the early 1900s or something like that. Like,
Wow.
so like, you know, or maybe
Was it
1920s.
was it because it was like a Muslim country? What was it just
No. It's not. It wasn't like people were banned from driving a car. It just happened that she just happened to be the first woman to drive it.
Oh, okay.
Between
Gotcha.
1935 and 1936. I'm on Wikipedia, so
I mean, you have to remember, even in the US, cars didn't really become mass
Right.
produced until the early 1900s. So you can
Right.
imagine
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
have taken a while to get to Nigeria.
Right. I got you. It's like, no, it had nothing to do with discrimination. They just didn't have a car until 1935.
But I mean, even, like I think it's just the, you know, first of all, we get cars, then the men drive the cars.
Right. They needed a little bit of a buffer. We're not gonna just let women start driving the cars. We just got these shits 6 months ago. Like what? It's 1935. What the fuck did you expect?
So yeah, I think if my memory serves me right, she was the very first Nigerian woman to.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess, you know, people keep tabs on that. I wonder if there's the first woman to drive a car in the U.S. Like,
so the reason, you know, the reason why I know shit like that is because we actually learned, like, you know, in high school you learn like social
Nigerian history. Yeah. That's it's just like, how would you know? But I guess, like, did she report it? Like, hey, y'all, I just drove the car from there to there. Like, I don't know. That's interesting.
I think it might have been like a big deal. Like, a woman
women
driving
can
a
drive.
car. Like, oh my god.
I'm gonna look this up. This is great.
I think they you know, they probably have some money, right? Like, you're not just driving a car.
But it is true in like Saudi Arabia, right? That women still can't drive and all that shit.
They just recently said
now
they
they
can
can.
drive. Like,
but how many do drive? That's the question.
Right. That's wild. It's kind of like when black men could vote in 1870. Could in you know, in quotes, but
but they would ask you like, okay, before you vote, you have to tell me what's the answer of 938,000 multiplied by 3,400. Like, what is that? You have to answer it in 3 minutes.
Yeah, and if you get it right, we kill you. So
this podcast I was listening to was talking about how, like, some of those polling
poll tax
test questions were like, how high is up?
Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're just making up shit.
Like, see, what you said is a ridiculous question, but like that's a question.
At least there's an answer. There's no answer to how high is up.
Like, how high is up is just like.
So with the question that I just gave you, they would say you have to answer in like 10 seconds. Like, it is just not possible. Like,
right, but you know what I mean, right? Like that.
Like, I know what you're saying.
Like, if a baby genius knows the answer to that, right? There is no answer to how high is up. Like,
right.
What are you doing? It's just
it was wild. But I wonder if there's like a poll test to drive in Saudi Arabia for women. Who knows? That's crazy. So are they saying that's it's just so crazy to me. Are they saying that's a Muslim thing, or are they saying, is that just what is that?
Yeah,
Saudi Arabia.
Women, right? Like, if you're not allowed to go anywhere by yourself, really, then what do you need to drive for, right? And so I can totally see that being like just a repressive gender thing.
What a weird place.
And then it's
like having all that money and being so regressive. It's just weird.
Yeah. That's now I think that I'm like reading Googling all this stuff. I think now the thing is a woman can drive with like a male guardian giving her permission to. Although women in Saudi Arabia can apply for driving licenses without needing permission from a male guardian, they still need permission to travel abroad. So I guess the rule before was you probably had to like have like, you know, a man be responsible for you.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. But anyway.
So Fela Kuti's mom was the first woman to drive a car. Damn. So she was born kind of just like bucking the system.
Right.
She was just kind of a revolutionary person who was like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, so I think Fela's dad was a doctor, one of the preeminent doctors. And in fact, when they sent Fela to the UK to study, he was supposed to go study medicine. He did that for like a minute. I was like, you be all right. Like, I'm going to go study music.
I'm in the UK. You can't come get me. You just got a car.
No,
Anyway,
that was true.
Still trying to figure out how to drive a car. So
yeah, I mean, obviously the rest is history, right? I don't think his parents were too happy for his decision. Like, it's like, wait, but
yeah,
he became this. Yeah,
that's interesting. When did he die, Fela?
I remember when he died. He died in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Like, was it like 97, something like that? Like, like I remember when he died, and he died of AIDS or
complications. Yeah, August 3rd, 1997.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Like, He was only 58.
This is so funny. There's
and shit. So he's from your neighborhood, like he's from your town.
He's from the town I grew up with. So that's why, I mean, there were a lot of like the ransom Kuti, like his family name is Kuti, right? Like, so there are a lot of Kuti stuff like in Abeokuta. Just so yeah. Like,
I have to tell y'all a funny Fela story.
Was that one?
I said I just remembered a funny Fela story. It's not really Fela, but I think it's funny. But maybe it's not. But anyway. So there's the shrine that's still operational now. Shrine is where Fela used to perform. I think they used to practice and do performances. And so Seun, his son, still does shows there and all that. It's just
Is this Kalakuta Republic you're talking about?
No, the shrine.
The shrine, okay.
Yeah. So, like, I think for the longest time, they used to, like, Thursday night they'd practice, and then Saturday is the show. And so people could come watch the practice for free, and it was just like a thing, right? So anyway, I go to Nigeria in 2015 with no longer a friend of mine, this guy who's like Black American and had always wanted to go to Africa, and I was like, well, I'm going, you can roll with me, right? So he came with me. So it's his last day in Nigeria, and I'm like, shit, we gotta hit the shrine because we haven't been there, and I've been showing him all these other places. Cool. We get to the shrine, and in my mind, right, like from all these other places you go in the world, like shrine is on the list of places you gotta go. So I assume that there is an entrance fee. So I'm in the front, and I roll up, and this guy comes up, and I said, like, it's so funny because I say, how much? And he's like, 500 a person. And I'm just like
you are the biggest boo on earth.
Chill now.
You're gonna say how much. I love my Nigerian people.
Anyway, focus. So he says how much. I say how much. He says 500 a person. I give him 1,000 naira. He runs off, and I was like, that's random. But then, listen, this is not even going where you think it's going. We're standing there. He's like, I'm coming, right? So he runs off, and then he comes back with 2 little Ziploc bags
with
weed.
Of course.
I do, like, I'm like thinking really quickly and reacting, right? Because in my mind, I'm paying a gate fee, and now this dude is bringing me weed, and I'm like, wait, what? Oh,
no, I knew exactly that was where it was going.
I thought you and then I was like, what? I don't need like he was like, I was like, oh, I thought I was paying for entrance. He's like, no, it's free, just go in now. I was like, oh, my bad. I was like, well, I don't want the weed, like, give me my money back. So he's like, what? I was like, yo, like, where me my money? So he like pulls out the crumbled 1,000 naira bill I gave him and gives it back to me. And then of course my friend who's like he's from New Orleans, but he lives in the Bay. He was like, yo, what if I wanted to? I was like, your flight is tonight. We are not having you smoke Nigerian weed. I don't smoke weed, and certainly if I wanted to, it wouldn't be like in Nigeria. I was like, no, you're not about to be smoking weed, and then I got to take you to the airport, and then Lord knows, what if you die? Like, what are you doing? It was so funny because I was like, I just bought illegal drugs.
It's legal in the shrine, though. What are you talking about?
Is that what? It is not legal.
I said it's legal at the shrine.
At
So
the shrine.
why are you no longer friends with this person?
Oh my God.
That is the real question.
Because he's a fucking psycho.
Uh-oh.
I hope he hears this, but he would never, because like, why would he? We're blocked on like one another's social media. It's so funny. So he and I met on Tinder like right before I started studying for the bar, like literally days before like the first day of Barbary. And he was like he worked at some tech company or whatever. Like he's not like a lawyer or anything like that. So we hang out a few times. First, it's kind of like, like we met on Tinder. So like, like what's up? But then very quickly it was kind of like just like on some French stuff. So it was like, cool, whatever. We hang out a few times. Then I'm talking about how like after the bar exam, I'm gonna like do this big travel. And he's like, I always want to go to Africa. And I was like, well, I definitely want to go to South Africa, and I don't want to go to South Africa by myself, so you can come with me. So he's like, cool. And I was like, and then from South Africa, we go to Nigeria, right? Like you do all that together, it's still like a $1,200 flight. So he's like, yeah, cool. So we go to, mind you, by the time we get to the airport, like he flew in from the Bay, I flew in from Houston. So we met at Atlanta airport. I realized that meeting up with him at the Atlanta airport is like the third time I've ever met this person like in real life, which should have been the the red flag was agreeing to go. I'm a red flag. But anyway, so we go so it was just like one of those trips where like you realize you don't really know this person very well. And you're now
but you're about to go to Africa.
Yeah, you're like on a 10-day trip with them. And so like to me anyway, and I think later on, and if he disagrees with this and he hears this, he can shove it in his pocket. But I think what was happening was, I think he wanted to be more than friends and didn't know how to when you start off meeting in like a romantic setting and then it's not like, let's be friends, but now it's like, oh, maybe I do want more. I think he didn't know how to say that or express that and was like just annoyed. And so he was just acting hella weird on the trip. Most of the trip was fine, but and then he was just an ass.
That's actually hilarious.
It was so ridiculous.
He's like, I go all the way to Africa.
Right.
I'm trying, but it's funny because he's like trying to be more than friends, and he's just like, fuck, it's not working. I went all the way to Africa with her. Like I was on a 20-some hour flight.
Listen, because that flight.
I would have gone on this flight, but for.
Right.
Well, damn it!
That frustration must be so intense. I can't even imagine. I would be annoyed too. I would have left. You just give him one. You give him a one-armed hug at the end. Like it's like I did all that for a one-armed hug. Like you could have just politely asked someone in public for a one-arm hug. You didn't have to fly all the way to Africa for that.
It's so funny.
Right, you didn't have to spend thousands of dollars for a one-arm hug. Like you literally could have.
He got him a personal tour guide for an Africa trip out of it.
He didn't care about that guy. He was not.
It's what's really funny, like just the American education system. Because I remember we get to South Africa, and it's just some people say that like travel educates you, and I'm like, yeah, but like some people are still idiots because we've landed in South Africa, and he's like, and I said something. I was like, like of all the countries, like I definitely think South Africa is like a really good start. He's like, how many other countries are there? Like 3 or 4.
In Africa? Wait, is this a black person?
Yes, he's college educated.
Listen,
I was like,
listen.
I'm like, what do you mean? He's like,
no, there are many people that actually don't know. This was actually a recent conversation. There are many people that don't know, how many countries, like in terms of.
I don't need you to know exactly.
I remember.
How many,
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. I listened to like an episode of Joe Rogan's podcast. It's not like an episode, but like a clip
Right.
from some years ago, and these people were talking about how they were just, and when I say I'm talking about maybe 2 years ago, they were just finding out like, whoa, there were more than like 7 countries in Africa. Like their mind was blown.
If you cannot guess within a
Wow.
20, if you can't guess within 20 countries, you know, like within a 20-point like correctness of how many countries are in Africa, I think you're like, how
I
you
would say
think like
this.
10, 20, I don't know, like.
No, it's the fault of the U.S. education system. Like you got to
I mean, like my guess would be 45.
Like that's a you know, like it's 54, right? But like that's like in the range.
Right.
Like, 4
and 54, I've heard that number before. I think I've heard it and have forgotten it. But yeah, I was like, it's got to be like higher than 40.
Like 4 is just
4 is unacceptable. Right, yeah. Like what we got, like one other country left. Like I know wherever they shot the Lion King, and then I think we're good after that, right? Like and Egypt like, maybe.
He had a frat brother who is Ethiopian. So like
so he knew about Ethiopia.
In South Africa, he knows Ayo's Nigerian. He knows his frat brother is Ethiopian, and he knows. And he had said that he wants to go to Egypt someday because he's an alpha, right? So I think in his mind, that's it.
Wow, this guy. And he doesn't know how to close the deal at all. It's just like, maybe if I go to Africa with her.
I was like, bro, what?
Yeah, he's this guy.
It just, my brain, because in my mind, okay, cool. Like maybe you didn't know before you met me, but you ain't even looking at a
okay. But I want to know, so when you guys went to South Africa, were you guys staying in like the same room or did you get separate rooms? Like how intimate was this? I have to know. And everyone listening needs to know.
Wait a second. Let me grab my popcorn.
Oh my Lord. See, I should have brought this topic up. So let me
this is what everyone wants to know.
Yeah. Well, same room for all of it because like
you gotta save money.
Expensive, you know what I'm
saying?
You
gotta say, that's the
there's just even more reason for him to be frustrated.
But we were talking about this trip because at that point it wasn't clear like what the situation was. I was like, yo, like are we just I think I asked it as like a question. I was like, yo, like are we just friends? Because like it's important for me to know what we are and aren't before we take this trip, right? Like a trip with my homeboy who we happen to be like, you know, saving expenses by staying in the same room, just mentally is very different from like, yeah, me and this dude are talking and we like are going to Africa together, right? Like I was just like, I just need to know. So, you know, especially like if we're out and about and, you know, I don't know. Whatever, right? Like
no, it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense that you clarify.
It makes sense that you would want to clarify. It also makes sense that he would lie and be like, "Nah, we just friends," because you put him on the spot.
And it's like, and I think
because he doesn't know he's going to Africa, right? Like he doesn't know what's gonna happen. Like he doesn't know to make some Africans, some African things. It's like,
we're on a different continent. Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, he's got all these ideas.
Some Americans, like they have, like some Black Americans, especially Black men. You know, they have ideas of what African women are like, right?
and that's all good and well, but just, you know, don't
like,
then be mad that what it is what it is. Like I remember in South Africa, one day he says, "Oh, you know, I was just texting with my homeboys and they were like, yo, you on a vacation?" And I was like, "Nah, man, it's not a vacation. We just..."
He's like, "It's not a vacation, right?"
Right? That's exactly how it sounds. It's not a vacation.
Right? This is not a vacation at all, right?
Like, what you mean? Like, you know, because we had this conversation. Like, I was basically like, yo, before we book these tickets, like, there's a conversation that needs to be had. And he was like, oh, yeah, of course. And now you want to be asking me about no vacations? Like, boy, bye. It was just a mess. And then it's so funny. He's from New Orleans, like he grew up in New Orleans, and we go to Cape Town. Cape Town is like a lot more, you know, sane.
Manny's been there.
Yeah, I've been to Cape Town.
Yeah, so
it's chill.
And I remember, I think we watched what's that movie with Will Smith with the
Concussion?
No, it's set in New Orleans or like Mardi Gras where they're like jacking people's stuff from their pickpocketing and stuff. Anyway, whatever that movie was.
I don't remember that one. I don't remember that one with Will Smith.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I haven't seen everything he's done, but I definitely don't remember that. But so you were watching that movie when you were in Cape Town?
Like on the way there. And so
Okay.
when we get to when I was just like, yo, I've never been here. Oh, and then anyway, whatever. Because he was like, oh, you ain't never been here? Why you brought me to a country you've never been to? I was like, I told you this before. What are you talking about? So anyway, I was like, yo, I've heard though that like, be careful of pickpockets, all of that stuff, right? And he's like, you seen Focus? I'm from New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? You can't get me, can't get God. I'm black, you know what I'm saying? I'm good. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, you're good then.
Yeah, so good luck.
First night in Cape Town, we're at some club that was like hella live, and we go get food. And I think at this point he was like kind of sick of me, which is fine. It's a thing that happens. So we go get food, and he like hears a group of girls with American accents, and like goes to start talking to them, like, "Hello, fellow American. I too am American." So I'm sitting there with like my bag. He gets up and he goes to talk to them, and they're like studying abroad or something like that from the US. So he's like, oh, and then he comes back to me. He's like, hey, so I think he was like about to exchange numbers with them. And then he was like, hey, you got my phone? I was like, I got your what?
Damn, what a dumbass. This guy is the dumbest person ever. Nothing you've said so far has been redeeming for this individual.
No, and nothing is, because he's an actual idiot. Like,
you got my phone. Nah, nigga, they got your phone. Africa's got your phone. It belongs to the people now.
Like, the continent took it. Like, it's
yeah, bro. The motherland took your phone. The motherland's got your phone, bro. Like, what, guy? You can't just be leaving your phone. Oh
like,
man.
Like, what? Like, I was like, and I told you this, and I didn't tell you because I knew your phone was gonna get stolen. I was trying to get you to be aware, and you was all, I'm from New Orleans, I'm thug life all day, can't nobody get me. You got on the first night, and not even in Joburg where people get got in Cape Town.
In Cape Town, yeah, that's ridiculous. Because Cape Town is, I mean, I'm sure there are rough spots in Cape Town, but not probably where you guys were.
Right. I was like, yeah, because you got real excited to talk to these American girls because you was tired of me. Well, now, so of course, now for the rest of the trip, he doesn't have a phone. And so like, I'm like his lifeline, right? So he's like, oh yeah, let me check my Facebook, which I just think that like, that would be so stressful on anybody. And
oh yeah, for sure.
Like, especially with the girl that you're like, maybe you're interested in, maybe you're not, but whatever it is, it's not like a vacation. He was just mad the whole time. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Like, obviously like I had like, internet and all that. So like he could borrow my phone whenever, but still like, obviously he has to like give it back at some point and all that. So I think he was just mad. And then we got to Nigeria and he was just sick of it all. And he was like, I think I'm going to leave early. And I was like, okay, cool.
What? Okay. First of all, let's go back to the phone thing. So I guess it's just gone. Like, because he didn't know. I mean, it's not like you can track it. I don't know. He could have gone to an Apple store, though. I bet they have one in Cape Town.
I don't know. It wasn't.
They probably do.
I remember that. And then, if they have one now, they may not have had it in 2015. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, he was just like, SOL. We get to Nigeria, which is just a little wonkier. And he was just like, I'm going to leave early. Because he got mad about something. Oh, he got mad because, like, I'm on this trip with this guy. And I'm texting my friends like a normal person does. And he's like, don't be talking about me to people. And I was like, I'm not talking about you. You're on this trip with me. And so when someone says, how was your day? I'm going to be like, oh, me and Idiot went to the, what's it called? The Apartheid Museum, right? He's like, I'll be talking about me. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So then he got mad about it and was just, I think the whole phone thing was like, I'm going to leave early. I was like, cool. Well, here's my laptop with internet. I'm going to go do my hair because you don't want to leave the house today. So I left. And then we get back that later that day, because we were at my parents' house, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna leave no more. And I was like, do tell, why? And he's like, yeah, it's $1,000 to change my flight. I was like, yeah, no kidding. Like, what are you?
Yeah, you can't. This isn't like a Greyhound bus.
Right. And it would have been like, he would have left like 2 days earlier. So it wasn't even like a ton. Like this is like the end of our trip.
Right.
And you're mad and you want to leave early. And then it's like, yeah, it's $1,000 in my flight. I'm gonna just stay. And I was like, well, yeah, we should make the best of it. So the whole, buying weed at the shrine and all that was like the absolute. And like at this point, we were, everybody was being nice because it's his last day. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's just soldier along. But after the trip, he was like, oh, that, after this trip, I don't think we're going to like speak to each other. And I'm like, look, I've been on trips with friends where after the trip, you need a little space from each other because it's like an intense week with each other. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. They're like, he doesn't talk to me for like 3 months. And then later on, he was like, yo, what's up? We should travel again. I was like, what are you talking about? You were miserable during that whole trip. And you don't want to be my friend. So like, that's cool. So
this is
and after that, we blocked each other on social media and we're not friends no more.
That is very strange. So
it's very strange, period.
Would you ever go to another country with someone you know to that extent ever again? Or was that like a lesson learned? Like never again?
Honestly, I don't be learning lessons too well.
It's like because the next year I did the same thing with another guy. And
Well, because also I have a bit more sense, and so like I probably can tell like as far as like my chemistry with someone. Because the other thing about the trip, what's so funny about it is like the things that matter as far as like whether you have travel chemistry with someone, he and I actually had that, right? So like things like what do we do today? Like he's not like, I hate when I'm in super chill mode and the other person is like stressing me about what we're going to do every hour and planning it like days out. Like we were kind of like on the same page with that kind of stuff. Or like food. Like I hate when people are like, oh, we need to like go spend money and eat out 3 meals a day. Like no, be like in the morning we can just grab something and kind of keep it moving. We can have like one big meal, just kind of like keeping it like loose and also like not spending a ton of money and all that. So like we actually like would be great travel buddies together if not for like all that other stuff.
Right.
So I think that like as long as I feel like me and somebody are on the same page with like, the stuff that like, okay, are you the kind of person who like wants to, spend a ton of money? Because even like with where we stayed, like in Joburg, we stayed at a hostel.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, hostel? Like before he was like, hostel? I don't stay in no hostel. What's that? I'm a hotel dude. And I was like, here's the deal. Unless you're willing to cover more than half of the cost, like it doesn't like that's what I can afford. Because also that was like my bar trip summer. Like that summer I had gone to before we went to South Africa, I was in Singapore for like 3 weeks. I was in Australia, I was in Malaysia, and then now I was going to South Africa and Nigeria. So I was like 5 trips, fun employed, waiting to start my job. Like my funds just look a little tighter. And luckily, because there were both of us with the hostel where we got like a private room that wasn't, kind of felt like a hotel, but then you could like talk to like random other people and all that. So he actually ended up having a good time, like staying at the hostel, but just like that kind of stuff, being able to like agree on how much money you're willing to spend. I feel like that's like super important with like a travel buddy. But same situation, probably not like, I probably wouldn't travel that quickly with someone I met on like a dating app or something like that, just because again, that's to me is kind of what made things look funny. But like a new friend who's like, yo, I want to go to this place. I'm thinking, I'm like, I probably have done. don't remember because it wasn't a bad experience. So.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's the other stuff that just made it crazy weird.
Yeah.
It's like the dude didn't know how to properly express what he was really trying to get. And also he was doing this weird thing where he was like talking to other girls, but like he didn't know what he
don't care, bro. Like
I know, but I don't know. He just fucked up. He fucked up. Then he lost his phone. He's an idiot. But that would have been so awkward, I think, to go that far with someone who you're like, you might be in the friend zone, but you're not really trying to be. Yeah. You're trying to like, I mean, it's one thing if you've known each other for years and he's like legit in the friend zone, but he had barely known you. Yeah. So he's just like, maybe.
It was so I think what it is now is, I think that's probably the kind of situation where I was 25, he probably was like 27. So it's not like we're like young, but hopefully the older you get, those are the situations where like you're like, I'm not gonna put myself in that situation. Like, I'm just not. Or you're like, okay, if I'm choosing that situation because like, because I don't think that he, and I haven't really kept up with his life, but he probably hasn't had another Africa trip. Like for most Black people who want to go to, like if you can go with like a study abroad and all that kind of stuff, it's fine. But there's just not a ton of like, and maybe now more than before, but people are uncomfortable just being like, okay, I'm just gonna buy a plane ticket and just like land in, Zanzibar or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So, I get that because I want to go to Africa, like, and but I would want some type of a tour guide.
Right, or at least somebody that like,
or someone,
you're at least more comfortable with this than me. So I think that was probably the reason that in his mind he probably was like, this is putting myself in an awkward situation, but this gets me something that I want, which is, the content. Because also, like, we went to 2 countries. Like, most people are not just letting Africa, like, bam. Like, we went to Joburg, Cape Town, and then Nigeria. Like, you got to see a few things.
That is a nice trip. Because I've been to South Africa. I've been to Joburg and Cape Town, which were both great. But then I said, I want to go to Nigeria. So that would be an amazing trip. I want to go back to South Africa. I gotta watch my phone.
So there is AFCON.
I missed something you said like right before.
You said South Africa BI.
So there is
it's like Africa Light. It's like Diet Africa. It's like your first introduction to the continent.
It is Africa. Africa comes in all shapes and colors.
True.
But anyway, so there is AFCON going on. So basically, AFCON is like, the soccer tournament that all the countries on the continent have every 2 years. And so the other day, Comoros. Danny, have you heard of that before?
No, but I have a feeling I'm going to find out.
I ain't even heard about it either until like last week. I was like, who?
It's hilarious.
It is interesting how, like, I'm actually surprised that many people haven't heard about it, because on Twitter, I got on Twitter and it's like everybody's like, "What is Comoros?"
Like, who?
Like, wait, what? Like,
is that near Seychelles? Like, who's that?
Like, we heard of Seychelles and all of that, but Comoros. So Comoros, this country beat Ghana, and I don't know how to describe it in terms of a way that a reference that you will understand. It's kind of like maybe if Midlothian High School football team beat Washington football team.
Okay, wow. Damn.
Like, because Comoros has like 4 people in it. Like, they have plumbers and electricians and whatnot like that. That play for the national team. And then you have this Ghanaian team that have, people that play in Europe, like playing the best teams in the world. Like,
please unclog my toilet so quickly so you can go and play in the national.
It's hilarious.
So, but as they were winning, because I was watching the game and I'm like, I can't believe, I just couldn't. And it wasn't like it was a fluke. They outplayed them. So it wasn't like,
Ghana's like good.
You said what?
I said Ghana's like good.
Yeah. So it wasn't like something accidental where they were totally outplayed, but Ghana was unlucky. No, Comoros outplayed Ghana. Like they beat them fair and square. Like it wasn't even like It wasn't controversial. It wasn't anything like that. I forgot where I was going with it, but
it's like a huge upset.
It was a huge upset. But I guess maybe what I was gonna say was, so you have never heard of Comoros, right?
No.
And Aiight, you didn't hear of it. So now I remember. There was this this Ghanaian artist, the Nigerians on Twitter I've been shitting on. His name is Shatawale. Like, I don't know if you.
Shatawale. He was in one of the Beyonce Black is King songs. He actually had a song.
So it was just. I feel like you just kind of like have to get the references, how people just piled on that guy, because I think there was a fight between him and Burna Boy or something. It wasn't a fight.
Yeah, I think there's like a little bit of a rivalry.
But this guy is not Burna Boy. Like, please, like he's.
Yeah, I've never heard of him. I have heard of Burna Boy, but
the song Already off the Beyonce album. I don't know if you like listen to it.
oh, what is that from? The Lion King soundtrack?
Yeah, Shine Already.
So that guy was on it.
He's like one of the like he actually like sings on it.
Okay, so yeah, but anyway, as Ghana was going down in that game, everybody kept piling on that guy. Like,
Damn.
Nigerians online are literally a terrorist group.
Yeah, I'm not really on Twitter, but every now and then, like when I get on, like it is like I can't. I just can't. Like last week, I think I tagged you in some guy that was singing. Did you see?
No, you tagged me the guy making dinner or whatever, plating dinner on the train.
Oh my God. Okay, so Manny, you need to see this. Like so I'm gonna have to share. So this is a guy that he was on a train. This gotta be somewhere in London. Like in Europe.
That shit is nuts.
Okay, so let me share my screen. And I mean, it's hilarious, man. Can you see my screen?
You gotta,
yeah, I would make it full screen though.
So let's start from the beginning. So you just have this guy. So the caption was, something like Obama Yang doing something. Like I'm not gonna go into what that means, but I totally understand what that means.
Okay.
I mean, look at her eyes. Okay, Aiight, what do you think she's thinking?
She's texting her friend like, "Girl, what the fuck is Girl, I'm on a train. This weird shit is happening."
It's funny to me. Like I was thinking, like, is she thinking, like, you know what? Like, am I supposed to be digging this or not? But anyway, I don't know.
Are they together or something?
No,
this girl don't know this man. She just riding a train trying to get home from work. Like, she's like, what is happening? I think he like does this so like people like I don't know if she's heard about him, but like people like have heard about this.
So basically, for folks that are listening, this was a guy that was on a plane. This got to be in the UK. Yeah, that is the London Tube, and this guy brought a table. He brought swallow. He brought okele. That got to be fufu right there. Brought a
That's
big
hilarious.
Pot.
He got a pot.
Look at the old white dude. Like, God damn it.
You said the old white man?
Yeah.
That was exactly what I said.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell?
I love him. Look at his face.
It's like, we need to tighten up our immigration policies. That's what he's thinking.
Yeah, this why we got to close the borders on Brexit.
Look at our face. Look at our face.
Oh my gosh. You know he voted for Brexit. He's like, see?
Look at her. Look at this is the most hilarious part. Look at and then they opened it for her, served her food.
Oh my gosh.
I love that man. That white man.
What did he put on his hands?
He's like cleaning his hands. Like, yeah, wash your hands and get ready.
Because you got to eat with your hands. And then she grabbed that.
Look, I mean, if you're going to put it out there like that.
Right. She's like, because he made her a plate, but she's like, I'm not about to eat this. But she's like, look, at least I'll drink the malt.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
damn, that should look kind of good, too.
It's the crazy, like, first of all, I would simply like, and I'm curious as to like, if this is like for real, or like because I would get up and leave. One, you're not about to have me on camera and yellow, whatever. Like, that's what we're not doing.
That's true.
But So this just reminded me of this. Have you ever heard of West Elm Caleb?
No.
Oh my God. Okay, so I have to like look it up because I haven't heard like this whole. I don't know the whole story because with Twitter, it's one of those things you hear about, and you're like, everything I know about this, I know against my will. Y'all kids are crazy, but it's this dude apparently like on Tinder or some dating app or something in New York City. He's like gone on a bunch of dates with a bunch of girls and like doesn't like call them or anything like that like after the date, which is to me normal 21st century dating behavior. But anyway, a bunch of girls who have gone on dates with him were like posting on TikTok about it. I assume that what's happened is he's a guy that you go on a date with and you enjoy yourself, right? It's a good time. You want him to call because, nobody makes a video about a guy they don't want to talk to them again. But anyway, he just hasn't called, right? And so all these girls apparently were on TikTok talking about something. I went on a date with a guy, let's call him West Elm Caleb. And another girl's like, oh my God, I went on a date with the same dude. And like, it's like blown up the internet. Like people like found out who he is, where he lives, all of these things. All because he went on dates and didn't call him back. And it's just like one of those random, like, I think they're probably like around like 25, 26, like that, like age group, and everyone's talking about it. And you're just like, are we bored? Because this is normal dating behavior. Like you go on dates and then it's not a good time and you just don't talk to them no more. But apparently people have accused him of, gaslighting and ghosting and all of
That's an accusation, ghosting.
For him, yeah, he's definitely not, guilty of ghosting, but the internet is.
I mean, I don't know, man. When people accuse people of these days, like, yeah, that's part of life. You go on a date, somebody didn't call back, like,
right? It's like that's normal.
Like I would like to talk to these people. Whether one, they've gone on dates before, and two, they've called back everyone. What
it obviously is just like every time if I've gone on a date with someone, like my favorite dates or not favorite, but like my favorite is this is not going anywhere dates are like we both go on the date and then afterwards like literally none of us text each other. So it's kind of like mutually agreed. We don't need to discuss that this is not going to be a thing, right? But I think what, obviously it is like, I've had a situation where like me and a friend in town realized we went on a date with the same guy, right? It's kind of like, oh, wow. And then that's where it ends. We don't, form a fucking union to hunt the man down and like demand that he texts us back. But like this, and then they gave him a nickname, and apparently like I think the conversation is that he's been doxxed, like people like know all this stuff about him, and he's just like a normal dude, like
this is hilarious, man. So what he did wrong was actually not being a jerk on the date, and then
right, he made them want to go out with him.
He made them want to go out again because my sense is if this is someone you didn't want to see again, wouldn't be a problem.
Exactly. Like you're like, oh, I hope he never texts me again. This is obviously attractive man who these girls wish would hit them up again, and they're saying that he's ghosting them, and it's like he's not ghosting you. He just
maybe he's ghosting them, but that's not an accusation. That's not a thing.
It's not a crime.
Well, certainly is it, but and the conversation that sort of erupted around this is that like, what do we owe people in the casual dating culture? And it's like you don't.
Nothing.
Yeah. I mean, what do people owe you anywhere? Nothing.
Right, but it's maybe always not the right word, right? But it's like,
no, but I get what you're saying. Like
and obviously it's a matter of levels, right? Like if you go on 2 dates and I don't want to see you again, no, don't be you gonna break up with me via text. No, it's not even a breakup. It's just like, nah, I'm good, bro. Or it's nothing, and like nothing that not communicating is communicating. It's saying
It's saying, oh, I'm not interested. Clearly, because if they were, they would have hit you back that or they're dead.
Right.
That's the only other thing.
with it's we're in the pandemic, so people be dying, like people be dead.
Yeah, people could be dead, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if they're not hitting you back, but it is interesting. I say that as an observer because I'm not in the dating world, but yeah, ghosting. I don't know.
To me, ghosting requires like it certainly requires more. Like before I would say someone ghosted me, we need to I need to have known them a certain amount of time or spent a certain amount of time with them. So like if we just met this week, even it's so funny because actually I blocked a guy recently. It's not really, it's kind of like a nothing story. Like this guy, we went on, like 2 dates and like a Wednesday and a Sunday date. And so I was kind of like, oh, okay, what's up? This is interesting. And then it was just like a lot of silence. And then he would it was so weird because he kept asking me to bring him food. And I was like, are you? And it was like, I mean, I already blocked men for asking me to cook for them because I'm just like, go.
Your ass is African, man. They think African women all they do is cook.
I literally swipe left to men who mention women cooking for them on their profile. Like I'm aggressive about this because I do enjoy cooking. I do like to cook, but I don't like it to be anyway, whatever. But this dude wasn't even asking me about cooking. He would just be like, oh, I'm about to pack for my trip. You should go to Velvet Taco and bring me some tacos. What are you like? I was like,
what the fuck?
What is this? And if you're listening, wherever you are, I can't remember his name right now. Kevin, Chris.
Kevon.
No, it's he's Kenyan, but it was a very generic name. Michael something. I think it's Chris. I don't remember now. But anyway, I was just like, no, I'm not. You want me to leave my house? I'm just trying to think of what conversation is happening internally in my head. I'm gonna grab my keys. I'm gonna get in my car. I'm gonna drive to Velvet Taco. I'm gonna call you and be like, what do you want? And then I'm gonna order it and then I'm gonna bring it to you. And we've hung out twice. That's.
I mean, you should just use Uber Eats. That's what it's there for.
Because the thing that's confusing about it is, are you one? I'm hungry and I'm lazy. Or are you yo, this chick is mad cool. I want to hang out with her.
So that's what I was going to say.
I think he was probably just. Well, go ahead.
Is this an excuse to kind of try to see you instead of him to just say, hey?
I think he was just kind of just joking. I think it was just really an excuse to try to see you. I don't think he was actually yeah, get me. You were supposed to be I'm not doing that shit, and then you're supposed to engage. I think.
Okay, so
but your ass is an independent, professional black woman,
and you took it literally. You really think I'm going to go and get you a taco? No, I didn't actually think that.
No, the thing is, I didn't get that text and go oh, this is crazy, get away, right? It was just kind of LOL. No, I'm not doing that. You should go get yourself some tacos, right? I continued the conversation, but the reason why I don't think he was joking was because. So our first day, we got drinks on a Wednesday night. And then Saturday night, he was like, oh, I'm going to be sort of in your neighborhood, having dinner with a friend. Maybe we can hang out later that evening. And I was like, all right, cool. But then by 10 o'clock, he hadn't hit me up. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to bed. I'm obviously not going to whatever. So that was that. And then Sunday morning, he's texting me and he was like,
what happened was
well, no, it wasn't even that. The Saturday thing was kind of done with, whatever. Sunday he's like, oh, what are you doing this morning? I was like, oh, I'm chilling, just whatever. And he's like, oh, he's about to go get a smoothie. And I was like, okay, enjoy, right? Then he goes, you know what? I have an even better idea. And again, mind you, I've met this guy once and it was Wednesday, right? It's Sunday. And he says, I have these Girl Scout cookies. How about you go get smoothies and bring it over in exchange for some Girl Scout cookies? And I was like, I think he said something about I have an offer you can't refuse. And I was like, this is quite a refusable offer. This is the opposite.
Okay, now that you put context in it, that sounds more like a joke though.
I think he's just flirting. That's all that is.
Yeah, that is.
It's not supposed to be taken seriously. You just went
it's a different question to say maybe it didn't work.
You twice, bro.
Yeah, it's a different question of whether it was good flirting, but he was just joking. He's just trying to find any way to just joke and
that sounds like the biggest joke ever. It's
makes sense. That's what dating is, right? you find out that someone's sense of humor apparently and yours just are
Yeah, you should not be together because apparently you were taking it very literally, and he's just like, wow.
That morning, because I was like, well, that's not really like an offer. That's a very refusable offer. And he's like, well, what offer could I make that wouldn't be refusable? And I was like, you could say, hey, you want to go grab coffee this morning? And he was like, okay, well, do you want to go grab a coffee this morning? I was like, why, yes, I would. And then we ended up meeting up, and it was like a good time. But the second time with the Velvet Taco, I was just like, look, I don't understand this. Maybe he was like, last time I started out with the bullshit and we ended up hanging out. So this time, but
he's just flirting. That's all that is. It's not supposed to be taken this seriously or analyzed like this.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, after like, I think it was like about a week after that, like it was just like there was a lot of communication. And to me, it's a sign, right? Like if you go on 2 dates in 1 week and then there's like barely any communication for another week, it's just kind of like, okay, this is done. So like I didn't text him anymore because I had like initiated a couple of text messages and I was like, oh, he's not gonna hit me up unless I hit him up. That's cool, that's fine. And so I just like let it die. And then like a week and a half later, he sends me like a screenshot of a joke. And I like responded LOL.
It is mad at trying to try out new jokes.
I was trying not to put me on blast. I'm like, I think he was just joking. So maybe leave him alone, give him some grace.
All of this, like you read his mind, and you know, he was just joking.
I think he was just. Yeah, I was just like, but the point is that like after the random screenshot joke that it was kind of funny, but at this point I'm like, you know how funny a guy is and how interested I am in is like very closely correlated. So, like,
right. So if you didn't think he was funny,
I'm like, get the fuck off my phone.
I thought he was funny, but whatever.
You should follow him. I think his name's Chris.
No, it was me. But no.
But yeah, so I blocked him.
That's hilarious. So he was just trying to like flirt, be funny, and you were just like, nah, this shit is not funny. It's stupid.
Like I'm a professional woman.
Jokes
like I'm a lawyer.
But jokes around like jokes that don't make it clear that you want to spend time with me don't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? Like go bring food to me is not like I want to hang out with you. Like it's just weird. Like
I think it was totally meant to be a ridiculous request that you weren't supposed to take seriously.
I mean,
I think it was a way to like engage. I don't know. I totally get that. I would have dated this guy. If he would have hit me up, I would have been like, all right.
I'm so glad Geneva got you when she got you, because you would have been helpless out in these streets. The girls
like Geneva saved his ass.
Yeah, I guess so. From myself, yeah, because I would have been blocked left and right.
Because you would have been out here getting blocked, like what? That's not, you know. And you know, y'all remember the one time I was telling you that I swiped left on the dude that said he do stand up, because I'm like, I can't be fake laughing to jokes for the rest of my life. Like, that's not gonna work.
He could have been funny. You got to look up his clip if he has one online.
I swiped left on that dude so quickly. I don't even remember what his face looks like. So yeah.
You need to lighten up.
I'm gonna dialogue. It's cool. I am comfortable with that. I'm certainly more comfortable with that than the jokes that make no sense. Like, you should go buy tacos and drive to my house and give it. I've never even been to your house, and now I'm supposed to go bring you food. I know maybe it was a joke. I don't think it was a joke. See, that dude, and I wish I could test this out. I feel like if I had been like, oh, what's your velvet taco order? He would have been like, oh, cool. Let me get the number 2 and the number 7.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, if you said yes, I would. It's kind of like.
It's not a joke.
I don't know how to explain. Can you help her understand this? Because I
don't know. Like, Aiight is a lost cause, man. Like,
yeah, it's you know when like you're being serious, but you know it's ridiculous. Like you're not like, yeah, you'll take it. Like there's truth to it, but you don't actually expect the person to do it. But if they do,
to feed you, just leave us alone. How about that?
Oh God, you're getting all woke about it. It was just he's getting canceled because he was just trying to make a joke. People can't say anything.
And again,
anymore.
Just to be clear, the reason I stopped talking to him is not the taco thing and the bring me a smoothie thing. Just didn't make any sense. But that wasn't the reason I stopped talking to him. The reason I stopped talking to him because like the communication just like was not really there.
Yeah.
And I figured that was like an indication. I mean, it's not like I was like super interested. I was like, you know, after 2 dates, I'm just curious enough about, like, I'm like, I'd go out with you again. Like at this point, I'm like, yeah. And that, conversation never happened. And so it's like,
yeah.
Well, so I didn't cancel him for asking me to bring him food, but maybe I should have. Maybe that should have been the reason I would have been like, you know what, bye-bye. I was trying to, what it was, I was trying to be open-minded. I don't think I've ever like gone out with somebody who's like East African. I was like, yo, like, you know what, let me extend.
You just, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think Chris or Kevin or whoever, I don't know. He didn't seem like that bad of a dude.
He wasn't a bad guy. I mean, sure, he's great for somebody else who thinks velvet taco jokes are funny.
Oh my gosh.
I wish him wherever he is the best. We had a really enjoyable conversation. He was smart. He was, funny in person. Maybe that's where he needs to stick.
I will say, if someone actually does get him tacos, like if someone actually agrees to that, he will marry that person.
So happy, yeah. He's gonna be like,
that's his wife.
Like his test. How he's like, oh, if she offered to pay, then I'm gonna know she the real one. Like, okay, like fine, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe if someone gave him tacos by now. How long ago was this?
Oh God, it was right around when the time changed, because I know that Sunday was the Sunday of time change. So like, was that November?
Oh, okay, so this is somewhat recently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he got his tacos, and you know what? The tacos are great. That's the flip side of that is if somebody had been like, "Oh, let me go get some tacos and bring it over to you," I would have been like, "Shit, why not?"
Yeah.
Because tacos are good. Like, don't joke about food, bro. And then when the joke is about me procuring food, makes no sense.
Damn.
But again, that's what dating is, right? It's like, looking at a gazillion. Well, that's what dating is now, is looking at a gazillion profiles and trying to figure out, who you'd be a good fit with. And sometimes it involves things like, 2 dates and nothing, and then you delete their number and you don't accuse them of ghosting. You certainly don't dox them on the internet, psycho millennial Gen Zs or whatever the hell those people are.
I have a question. When you're dating, do you still is it still a thing where you have to like wait to text people back and like play those games, or are you at the point where you're just like, I'm gonna just say what I'm gonna say when I'm gonna say it?
I mean, I'm a whole adult, right? So like, but I'm a whole adult, Black woman who's very like, I've asked men on first dates and that kind of stuff, right? So I'm not, but a lot of people, it depends on the person. And even with me, it depends, right? Like I do try to find that balance, right? Because I'm still a woman who lives in 2022 and not 2058 yet, right? And so like, I pay attention, but I don't like wait, right? Like, so like I could go on a first date with somebody and text them after, right? Or if somebody and I exchange numbers, I'm not like, oh, he needs to be the first person to text me, or after the date, he needs to text me first. But I pay attention. And it's because it's also been my experience that some guys are really lazy. And so like, like if we talk for 4 days in a row, and each of those 4 days, I initiated the conversation, I'm going to realize it. And then I'm going to be like, okay, all right, day 5, I'm going to chill.
Mm-hmm.
Day 6, I'm going to chill. If I now realize that, a whole week goes by and the only conversation, then I realize, oh, okay, I'm, doing more than they're doing. And the effort level needs to be as close to balanced as possible for me. And so if I realize I'm putting more effort in, then I just I literally just do nothing. I just go sometimes I'll archive their phone number in my phone. So that way, unless they text me, they can't that's just my thing. But I think it just depends on some people, men, women, homo or heterosexual relationships. Some people feel more like they want more effort on the front end before they match. And I'm very look, I need to match effort from the beginning, because otherwise, if I feel comfortable making 0 effort, then it's because I'm not interested.
Right.
But some people definitely, like what you said, some people are definitely still I hate that if a guy gets my number and doesn't text me within 24 hours, I'm just especially if like you have my number and I don't have yours, and then you just don't text me, I'm just like, okay, what are we, 5? Like, send me a text. Like, it's not insane to be excited to talk to somebody. Like, we're adults, so.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Dating is still wild. This shit is crazy. Like when my like, you know, coupled or like engaged and married friends be, oh, he's so, I'm like, girl, you better stay there. The streets is wild. Like, you don't leave your
You
wives,
better work it out. You
don't
better
leave your
work.
husbands. Stay there, because then you're gonna be out here talking about some. So what do you do?
Talking about you trying to get me some tacos. It's like, no,
Listen,
nigga, block.
I
That's
swear.
yeah.
Like, what do you like to do for fun? It's like, shut up, go away.
Yeah, I was actually out. I was out, like, just we were going out to eat, me and Geneva, and I was like kind of listening to a couple next to us, and it seemed like it was clear they were on a first date. And I was like, oh god, this fucking sucks. It's just like, what do you like to, like, all that shit. I was like, wow, you guys got to start from square one. That is ass.
It is exhausting. It's, I mean, you know, but it's also, you know, if you're chill, I mean, everybody's different, but I just feel like I like people. And so I do like, I mean, obviously there are people that I engage with and like very quickly into the conversation, I'm just like, you're nuts, and I will no longer engage in this conversation. But like, I like meeting new people. It's like, oh, I, you know, don't know somebody like you until I start to talk to you. And so it's like, that's kind of interesting. I think the weird part is just all the other stuff, right? The, you know, now I don't know how to tell this person I'm not interested, or they are saying they're interested, but they're not. Like I had a situation with this guy that I like hung out with a little bit in October. And then he started moving funny, and I was like being very clear and like, yo, this is what I'm, you know, looking for, expecting, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, no, that works for me too. And then he wouldn't do anything. And I'm like, okay, I gave you a playbook. You threw the playbook at the car and you started doing your own thing. And so I stopped talking to you. And then he, while I was in Pennsylvania, I was tweeting about it for my travel IG, which he follows. And then he's like, oh, where you at? And I was like, I'm in Pennsylvania. And he's like, all right, let's do dinner when you get back. I was like, no. He's like, well, why? I was like, because I was very clear about like all of, not only was I clear, you said, oh yeah, no, this is what I'm also looking for. And then you didn't do anything. And so I'm not gonna, he's like, well, you know, I apologize. I was just like, I'm not doing this. Like, you're not gonna annoy me twice.
Was this via text, this conversation, or was it?
Yeah. Well,
okay. I mean, I only asked because of the way you're talking, like, you know. Like,
my man.
She's gonna make him sound like an idiot no matter what.
Yeah, my man voice definitely makes dude sound like caveman. Like, that's definitely like
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean,
it's the caveman voice.
Let me get this straight. So you have, I guess, what you could say are like non-negotiables, right? Like, do you ever bend? I mean, or maybe I should ask, do you have non-negotiables? And if so, do you ever bend on them? Like, do you?
I mean, if they're non-negotiable, by the very definition, one doesn't bend on a non-negotiable, right?
No, like actually, but people do. Like, there are rules for everyone, and there are rules for Idris Elba. Like,
but if I'm being honest,
some people get that affirmative action, so it's like
when I'm being really honest with myself, if I am bending on a non-negotiable, it's because it's a short-lived arrangement, if that makes sense, right?
Okay.
You know, where it's kind of like, you know,
gotcha.
But for anything with the expectation of a potential long term, whatever that means, like, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense, right? And you know, my list of truly non-negotiables aren't very long and very arduous, but apparently they are. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I just like.
So
you're probably not.
Do you clearly know from the get-go that, okay, if someone is not gonna, like, this is not gonna move to anything serious, so you know what I mean, and you can still accommodate whatever.
I have phases. I mean, I definitely have phases where I'm more open to short short-term housing arrangement. Sometimes I'm looking for like a 12-month.
See, we're lawyers. We can think of all types of phrases to describe things.
Right, I'm just like,
That's amazing. I've never even heard of that one. That's great.
Yeah.
Short-term housing arrangement.
Yeah. Basically, there are times where you're okay with Airbnb.
Exactly. Sometimes it's like a hostel, and then sometimes I'm like, I need a mortgage.
They need a mortgage.
Right. Yeah.
Roots. Like
It's just yeah.
But I am very, very honest about that. And like, and you know, there's sometimes where a short-term housing arrangement leads to the landlord selling you the property and now you have a mortgage.
This episode is called Short-Term Housing Arrangements. Okay. Let's just all remember that because I love that term.
I mean, you know, less emphasis on the housing. I'm not a what's the word, hobosexual, and I don't
Doesn't matter. Even if you are, who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just
live your life. It's fine. No judgment here.
A certain let's just say I got a lot of texts about the last episode. From like the same person, but it was just a lot of like, oh, LOL, this part was really funny, and I was like, please don't keep listening.
That's hilarious.
Oh my god.
Oh man, y'all are ruining my housing life.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
They be all the way I. But so yeah, so you probably have non-negotiables for long-term stuff, which is probably, I would imagine, basic stuff. You seem like a very reasonable person. Except for the taco thing. I thought that was unreasonable. But other than that,
what would you have had me do in response to the taco situation? Because I feel like I actually did.
I think you did what he wanted you to. Wait, yeah. You just kind of like played it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that in my head, I'm like,
in your head, you're like, man, I'm never talking to this guy again.
I'm just like, what a fucking idiot, right? But like, he doesn't know that.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you.
I'm very reasonable, I think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But the streets are not really reasonable.
I mean,
streets are wild.
You only have the options you have, and that's, I think, what makes, you know, dating complicated, right? It's like you only have the options that are like presented, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's probably people that I'd get along great with and we'd, you know, hit it off well, but if they don't show up on my Hinge, right? Or if they said the wrong words on their profile and I see it and I'm kind of like, oh, hello, you know? And that's the thing that's like interesting about all of this stuff, right? Like you see some guys whose profile says, I can't fit everything about myself in this column, ... and you're like, okay, we didn't ask for a biography. Just like, I like tacos.
Yeah, get concise,
bro. Like, just say words. But then some people's, the thing that they say, overemphasizing a very minor part of their lives, right? Like if somebody were to post and they're like, oh, I'm all about like working out and eating clean and no fat, right? And whereas like, and it's like, maybe that is a part of his life, but it's not that big of a deal. Now I see that and I'm like, oh shit, this man gonna make me not eat chicken again. Like, I don't know about that, right? Like, this is kind of a silly example, but
no, that's real. I get that.
They're all about DC, and I'm like, but I'm a Marvel kind of girl. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we're not gonna get along. Like, that's silly because, like, I'll watch Batman. Like, whatever. Anyway, dating's dumb, and you know, for the audience, stay with your partners. Don't leave them unless they're like, you know, crazy or abusive. Then leave them and come out to the streets.
And find some more crazy people who hopefully
listen. We all crazy out here.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe the love of your life is currently getting a divorce. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you never know.
But anyway, no, it's I find it all fascinating. Also, because I feel like I'll unplug for a few months and then I'll plug back in and be like, so what's up in the streets? And then it gets insane, and then I'd be like, I'm out again. So
I was bored the other day and I decided to record my own rendition of Water Runs Dry.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is Water Runs Dry?
Water Runs Dry. That's Boyz II Men song. You know the Boyz II Men?
Oh, kind of. Yeah. I know. I'm going to get canceled for not knowing that.
Yeah, that's the older.
Jeez.
Well, yeah, Boyz II Men is old. That's like 80s people.
I know.
90s. Careful.
And I mean,
Well,
I'm in Philly. I really
people
can't
born in the
not
80s
know
are the ones
that.
who love Boyz II Men. I was born in 1990. I'm like, although
Damn.
we've come to
Yeah, I
the
know End of the Road.
end of the road. You posted it on YouTube too? Look at you.
What if
no,
Lai had a
it's-
beautiful voice? That would be
it's
hilarious.
private. It's private.
Ah.
It is.
So you sang a song?
Yeah.
All right.
So-
Well,
So
Let's hear it.
why the fuck would you share this? But okay. This is amazing. Go ahead.
that is the whole point.
That's the main question. It's like, what the fuck? Hey guys, I did something embarrassing yesterday. Here you go. Let's put it on the
I know.
podcast.
This is okay. Here we go. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, turn it up.
I am dead.
What?
We don't even talk anymore.
I need this in my phone right now.
What the fuck am I watching?
You should send this to Io.
I don't know what I'm watching.
I don't either. Like, are you?
Lai is officially gone insane. This is like him crying out for help.
Were you doing this against your will?
That's what it looks like. It does look like a hostage video.
I know it's funny. Everyone that I shared it with my brother,
That is
And he
wild.
and he was like, "We got to
came
stage an
out.
intervention, y'all." I'm like, "Guys, relax." Like I'm like,
You can't relax. You're putting these into the ether.
Yeah, that is wow. All right. Well, hey, look, everybody gets bored
Everybody gets
sometimes
Everybody gets one.
and does things. I just wouldn't share them, but no, that was
Were
interesting.
you? Have you ever been as bored as you were when you did this? Is this like a one-time thing? Is this like a no? Like, should we expect more of these?
"No, it's not. It's not what you think." Like this is just again. I
Well, this is what you
uploaded it,
always do. You just
but it is a
recorded it.
private link. You can upload stuff on
Right.
YouTube and I make it public. So
Please
and
send
then
me this link.
and then just share it personally. Like I mean, like you only share it with
That's so funny.
go ahead.
So Lai and I have a mutual friend whose name is also Io, and they
Okay.
like jam sessions together. It's the cutest thing. I guess they had 8 jam sessions together. I shouldn't say plural. I don't know, but it's funny because he actually sent me a video recently of him playing some song. It was like on the piano, so it wasn't like a whole performance. It was just the piano, not this thing that you did.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that was
that was like
That's
one
wild.
girl.
But anyway,
But I'm grateful. It's 2022, and Lai should be allowed to explore his interests.
thank you. See, that is
Privately.
the kind of non-judgmental, sentiments
judged you already.
that we all need in our lives right now.
Look, you know what I'm saying? We're going through a global pandemic.
Exactly.
Whatever you got to do for your mental health, bro.
Whatever
Yeah,
you
man.
gotta do. Whatever
This
you
was,
gotta do.
this was great.
Well, this was
Well,
fun.
Is anybody?
yeah, we've come to the end of the show. Any last words for the folks?
So we've come
Oh,
to
Lord.
the end of the road.
End of the show.
I was singing the lyrics of that song because those are all the lyrics I know.
End of the show, yo. Is the show, yo. Back to the
46,
show. Is the show,
baby.
yo. All right.
Oh, he's rapping. Is that what's happening?
Well, Yeah, end of the show. You all have fun.
Yeah.
And then we'll see you all on the next episode. Oh, there is a song. Who had it? Was it Dr. Dre the next episode?
The next, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll see you on the next
We'll see y'all in the next episode. But yeah, y'all. Thanks for listening. And y'all will all be aight.
And if you're not, you're gonna be all right.
Yeah.